When you break physical combat down to its rawest elements, it is entirely a mathematical problem, a real-time calculation of force, mass, and spatial geometry. The martial system engineered to solve that problem most efficiently is colloquially known as the art of 8 limbs. Looking at this 3D structural model, those 8 limbs map to precise anatomical nodes: 2 fists, 2 elbows, 2 knees, and 2 shins. Muay Thai operates as a highly structured framework developed through centuries of Thai military history, specifically engineered for maximum lethality. The central spatial problem this system solves is simple. A practitioner must be able to maintain offensive capabilities regardless of their physical distance from the target. Taking a human being from a state of total ignorance to advanced proficiency in this system requires a strict developmental roadmap. This roadmap relies on a 4-pillar matrix: historical philosophy, biomechanical precision, physiological conditioning, and tactical intelligence. Ignore any single pillar and the entire framework fails. Mastery requires treating the human body as an actively engineered weapon. We map these 8 nodes onto 3 distinct spatial ranges. This overhead schematic rigidly divides the combat zone into long, mid, and close ranges. The longest tools, the shins, deploy in the outermost ring, acting as heavy artillery sweeping across wide vectors. Moving inward, fists control the middle ring, following rapid linear trajectories. Finally, elbows and knees dominate the innermost ring, operating on tight circular and vertical vectors as high-damage destructors in confined spaces. By layering these 3 zones, the system creates overlapping fields of fire. If an opponent manages to step past the long-range artillery of the shins, they inherently position themselves directly inside the firing line of the mid-range interceptors. Look at this historical photograph of a bout. The fighter landing the high kick perfectly demonstrates long-range artillery, applying maximum force to the head while keeping his own vital targets out of his opponent's reach. The geometric distribution of these 8 limbs is specifically designed to eliminate defensive dead zones, rendering the opponent vulnerable at every possible distance. Mapping the geometry is only the first step. Generating the necessary force within those spatial ranges requires the second pillar: biomechanical precision. The core biomechanical rule of this system is that isolated muscle movements, like simply swinging a leg or extending an arm, are mathematically insufficient to produce elite-level combat force. Instead, striking power relies on a rotational kinetic chain. In this skeletal model, kinetic energy originates at the planted foot, transfers through the structure, and terminates at the shin. The crucial mechanism is hip torque. A violent rotation of the hips acts as a force multiplier, accelerating the dense shin bone to strike like a blunt force instrument. Inside the close range, those weight transfer mechanics adapt. Generating force with a knee strike requires driving the hips forward while simultaneously leveraging the opponent's mass downward. We can see the physical evidence of this structural alignment during training. The fighter must lean back slightly to counterbalance the extreme forward thrust of the knee, aligning his skeletal structure to drive his entire body weight cleanly through the target. Elite striking power is not a product of sheer muscle mass. It is entirely the result of flawless, synchronized skeletal physics. Applying this physics introduces a severe biological battle. Standard human anatomy is simply not engineered to repeatedly crash bare bone against bare bone at high velocity. To survive the application of the system, the body requires a literal hardware upgrade. This is the 3rd pillar: physiological conditioning. This conditioning relies on Wolff's law, that healthy bone increases in density from mechanical stress. This cross-section compares standard density with heavily calcified, stress-adapted cortical bone. Repetitive impact creates microscopic fractures along the tibia. The body's healing response fills these fissures with thicker material, slowly reinforcing the shin. Beyond skeletal fortification, the system demands immense cardiovascular endurance to continuously fuel these intense kinetic chains over multiple rounds. It also requires specific fast-twitch muscle fiber conditioning to facilitate instantaneous transitions between spatial ranges. Without this brutal, systematic physical remodeling, deploying perfect biomechanics at full speed would simply result in catastrophic self-injury. But physical remodeling only provides raw potential. The central operating system that directs these tools is the 4th pillar: tactical intelligence. Perfectly conditioned bones and precise spatial geometry hold no value if the fighter lacks the cognitive framework to deploy them at the exact correct millisecond. The cognitive load of a professional bout is immense. A fighter must constantly calculate distance, gauge impact force, and read incoming threats simultaneously across all 3 spatial ranges. Elite practitioners execute dynamic range transitioning. This means moving smoothly from long range directly into a close range clinch, without stalling or hesitating in the middle. Consider a specific tactical decision tree. A fighter recognizes an incoming punch in the mid-range. Rather than retreating, they choose to step forward, smothering the punch and instantly locking into a close range elbow strike. This intelligence also involves exploiting an opponent's spatial errors. timing a precise strike for the exact fraction of a second when an opponent's limb is mathematically out of position. A novice reacts to incoming attacks with panicked, disjointed movements. A master relies on predictive, trap-setting sequences, forcing the opponent to react precisely how they want them to. By maintaining this cognitive superiority, the fighter dictates the pacing and the exact physical location. This rapid processing speed is anchored by the historical philosophy of the art, which trains the mind to remain completely detached and analytical under extreme neurological stress. Tactical intelligence is the ultimate differentiator. It is the vital spark that animates 8 static anatomical tools into an active, predatory framework. When we step back and examine this entire martial journey, it forms a singular, highly systematic roadmap. True proficiency cannot be achieved through simple linear repetition. It requires simultaneous, sustained adaptation across all disciplines. We can map this trajectory on a progression matrix. The horizontal axis tracks time, while the vertical axis measures proficiency. In Phase 1, the novice acquires mechanical memorization and foundational philosophy, while physical conditioning and tactical application remain flat. Entering Phase 2, the intermediate stage, is the turbulent process of physiological bone remodeling and cardiovascular adaptation. Phase 3 marks the advanced stage. Tactical intelligence finally catches up to the physical tools, overriding conscious thought with trained reflex. The destination is the elite mastery node. This is the exact coordinate in time and training where all 4 pillars synchronize into fluid, autonomous action. But the system is fragile by design. A plateau or failure in any single line restricts the practitioner's overall combat capacity to that lowest common denominator. Moving from a state of total ignorance to elite performance requires a literal physiological and